Good afternoon, Mudbugs fans. Welcome to the edition of our Shreveport Mudbugs Media Luncheon. Mudbugs coming off another great weekend where they were able to sweep the Amarillo Wranglers. They won the season series against Amarillo. They won 3-2 on Friday, and then they won 5-1 on Saturday. Some of the highlights, some big contributions from Garrett Steele, who had a goal in each of the games. He also got second star honors, so congratulations to him. And a big production from our blue line, Tristan Zarski, Matthew Danziger, and Logan Haru, all combined for 6 points in the series. Simo Bushler picked up his 22nd win. He's now got the second most victories in the NHL among goalies. Mudbugs now sit 4 points behind Lone Star for the race for second place. Lone Star does have a game in hand, and the Mudbugs will be taking on the El Paso Rhinos this weekend. This Friday and Saturday will be our St. Patrick's themed weekend. We'll have lots of fun on Friday, and then Saturday we'll be doing pooches on the pond, so you want to be sure to come on out, bring your dog. If you have a ticket to the game, the dog is free. We'll also be auctioning off those St. Patrick's Day jerseys after Saturday's game. Here to talk about last weekend's series against Amarillo and this weekend's series coming up against El Paso is Mudbugs head coach Jason Soupy Campbell. Questions for Coach?
Arkansas.
Giving away $3,100. How should that be distributed in terms of whose paycheck it comes out?
Well, I haven't gotten a paycheck in a couple weeks, so I'm assuming it's mine. No, I get paid every week. So I thought that was pretty good. I saw that. I was like, 318. No, that's 3,180. So somebody's going to leave with some good bills in their pocket that night.
It's going to add to the atmosphere that has been really good in this building. And, you know, it's building toward playoff time, just like your team is building. Talk about, you know, what it's like to play in this building this time of the year when it's really starting to get toward the playoffs.
It's just an experience kind of a lifetime. We've always said it's kind of like your mini NHL here, you know. The crowd just is into the game, and the chippier the game sometimes, you know, they get a little fired up. They get a little protective of their players, all the billet families, and then the fans. And guys are in the community all the time, so, you know, people really build a bond with these guys and the staff for that matter. So they kind of take it personally if somebody tries to take liberties on their guys. And obviously when they're doing good, they have their back and cheer loud and proud for them. And if things aren't going so good, they sometimes try to hold them accountable, but for the most part, they're pretty supportive no matter what.
The number of games remaining shrinking, the lead between, you know, to get the second between the Bronze and you guys are shrinking.
Yep.
Do you kind of point that out to the fellas, like, hey, there's a short window here. We can do this.
Yeah, no, we don't talk about it a ton. You know, the board's in the room though. We update it every week, and they know second place means home ice advantage if we make the playoffs and you get that first round home ice advantage. So that'd be great. You know, if it goes 5, you get that extra game at home. Just that crowd that we've talked about. You know, in playoff hockey, the energy's just so high. But we don't dwell on it. We just dwell on taking care of our job. And if something else happens around the league that helps us out, then great. But we got to win hockey games in order to keep climbing up the standings, and that's what our focus is on.
What did you like the most about the guys play this weekend?
I liked our discipline the most, you know. Like it was chippy, really chippy, you know, and you know, like Fleeter was ready to drop the gloves and fight in that first game Friday night, and the other guy didn't drop his gloves, so he stopped right away, which to me shows great restraint and respect for his opponent. You know, he even punched him in the face, you know, but he didn't want to go, so Fleeter stopped, and unfortunately, Fleeter's the one that gets kicked out of the game and all that kind of stuff, you know. But after that, you know, I thought our guys were pretty disciplined for the most part, all things considered, because there was a lot going on, and our guys for the most part are ready to drop the gloves and go no matter what. Obviously, there's certain situations that you can't. Time on the clock in the third period, or depending on the game situation, but you know, I just liked our discipline because I was getting fired up too, and you know, let the ref know about it, and I got penalized for it too. So anyways, I think again, for the most part, they stayed pretty disciplined and focused on the game, even though there was a lot going on after the whistle and stuff like that.
Early in the season, even midway in the season, we'd talk after a weekend and there'd be frustrations. Now, even after the sweeps, there's frustrations. But talk about the differences in how you were frustrated when this team was getting 0, 1, 2 points a weekend. Now you guys are getting 3, 4 points.
Well, I think overall defensively we're playing a much better game, you know. The frustrating part with that is I think a lot of the chances we're giving up are unforced errors on our part, you know, so teams are finding it a little tougher to generate good offense against us, but at the same time we're coughing up pucks that we have full possession of and turning things over that way. And you know, our effort's always been there, so that was really never an issue. It was just that inconsistency and we were undisciplined at times, you know. But for the most part now, we're playing a pretty well-rounded game. It's never going to be perfect, but if we can be a little more responsible with the puck when we have it, hopefully that could be the finishing touch to really polishing off a pretty good team game that we're playing right now.
You mentioned during the game is chippy. You're right there. Obviously, you know, you're talking about the way those guys are kind of reacting to your fellas. Your fellas aren't exactly wearing wire ropes out there. You know, when do you kind of, I know it's shocking. When do you kind of like understand that, all right, either we're instigating a little too much or we're not retaliating? How do you kind of regulate when the flow of the game is going on while you're on the bench? How do you kind of regulate without it getting out of hand?
Well, really, once Fleeter dropped the gloves and there was no fight that ensued there, like immediately I knew that I felt like, okay, I don't think there's going to be any fights. Like literal, drop the gloves, let's go and settle it instead of chirping and punching each other in the face with our gloves on and cross-checking each other, you know. And I get it, yeah, we're definitely aren't any angels on our team, right? But we do have certain standards from a team perspective in place internally as far as all that goes. And me as a coach, I'm really not a fan of all the stuff after the whistle, you know, because number one, I don't think any of the fans even want to be here for a 5-hour game with, you know, all this stuff going on after the whistle. They'd rather just see two guys settle their difference or just skate away and get ready to play again, you know. So it's usually just a feeling and you know, you tend to know the other team's players too, you know some teams have guys that are going to be willing to go and some guys that aren't. It's just the way it is, and you just have to be able to, you know, pick and choose what's going on out there and know when to just skate away and when you might have somebody that's going to be willing to go. Yeah.
Piggyback on what Roy was saying, the last couple of seasons, for over a month from where we're at now, it's in the season this year. It was always playoff hockey, like every other question was playoff hockey.
Yeah.
But we're not doing it this year. It seems it's just different.
Yeah, well, we kind of have been in that mode. Maybe we haven't really emphasized it as much because we were a lot further out of the picture at the beginning of the year last year. Even though we didn't have a great start this year, we actually still had more points than we did the year before. So, you know, but there's always been that stress, and we internally talk about it. You know, look, if we want to make the playoffs number one, we got to learn to play a certain way, and if we want to win in the playoffs, you got to learn to play a certain way, and we're still learning those valuable lessons. Like the goal we gave up with 5 seconds left on Friday night, it's a valuable lesson. We were lucky we had a 2-goal lead in that game, you know. So, but we talk about it internally, even if there's not a whole lot of talk outside the walls of it. But you know, again, we're still fighting for a playoff spot. It's still too tight to relax. There's a lot of points up for grabs. 22 points to be exact, like with some of the teams that are behind us. So we're only like 10 points ahead of Amarillo, I think it is, who's out of the playoff spot right now. But man, it's still close in my view. Too close.
You want your team, obviously, you want your team to be confident going into every weekend. Thinking or knowing they're going to get 4 points, but at the same time, you don't want your team looking at the standings and saying we're going to get 4 points because our opponent is at the bottom of the standings. Talk about the differences in the two and how that can hurt or help the team.
Yeah, well, we can look at the standings. We just need to look back to this past weekend. El Paso won 2 of 3. So against two good hockey, well, they beat Odessa twice, which Odessa's played us really hard this year, a lot of one-goal games, and they beat them, you know. And then New Mexico came in, and it was El Paso's third game in 3 days, and New Mexico's first game that weekend. But and they were playing them pretty strong through about a period and a half, and then New Mexico found a way to bury a few goals on them. But El Paso's always going to play hard. They just do. Every team in our division, that's what they bring. So we got to be prepared for another battle, because they've got some hard-nosed players that are still looking to win hockey games and finish strong this year and turn some heads and prepare to. They're still playing for this year, to earn a spot for next year, and try to end somebody else's opportunity to maybe play in the playoffs this year.
When you look at the holidays, the big four, Mount Rushmore, Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's, July 4th, where do you put St. Patrick today? Yeah, I put July 4th there. Maybe, Mount Rushmore. Where does St. Patrick today kind of fall in as far as the group of five type?
We never usually celebrate St. Patty's Day too much unless it's at the rink, you know, like doing a St. Patty's weekend or something like that. Not because I don't like the holiday, but we're usually it's hockey season, you know, so there's not many ways to be able to go out and celebrate. But I don't mind the holiday. I don't mind it at all. I think there's some great things that go along with it. I like the green beer, you know, and running around like a net leprechaun. I like the holiday for sure. Just don't get to celebrate it that often.
Would Chet make a good lover?
Oh, 100%. 100%. He's always got a pot of gold somewhere.
Hence the 3,100.
Yeah, it's probably coming out of his paycheck. It's like a tenth of it. A weekly salary.
Any more questions for Coach? It seems like this year we're hearing more sellouts. Is that common?
Yeah, no, we have had more sellouts. Yeah, for sure. It's been awesome, actually. The staff has done a great job of outreach, and the guys have done a great job in the community to help generate some of that. But for the most part, that's the off-ice staff. That's K-Jax and all them in the box office, and Paige and Lauren and everybody else, Muskie doing all the leg work, you know, off the ice and getting it out there about the games and the themes that we have going on. And the games are just fun. Like, you don't have to be a hockey fan to come and have a great night here at George's Pond. There's so much going on, you know, dancing and singing and games and intermission activities. And even if you don't like hockey, there's some hard hitting, some good scoring, and fast-paced action. So they've done a wonderful job this year, and it's just going to keep growing. It's a lot of fun.
Any more questions for Coach? Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Chet Yoder.
I want to remind our Mudbugs fans once again, so this Saturday, if you come out to the game, you will be in a drawing to win a cash prize of $3,180. So that's one of our big prizes that we're giving away for the first time, so you don't want to miss that. So coming out this Friday and Saturday, 7-Eleven puck drops. You can give us a call and get your tickets by giving us a call at 318-636-7094 or by logging on to mudbugshockey.com. Moving on in our player portion of today's Mudbugs Media Luncheon, he scored his first goal of the season. He's been great for us on the Mudbugs blue line. He had a goal and an assist in Saturday's victory. Tristan Zarski. Questions for Tristan?
I know they had you for two early on. Did you know the one was a deflection right away, or did you think you had it?
Well, initially, from my reaction, you could see I thought that was the one, but then Steelers down on the goal line doing the same celebration, and I had to be honest with myself that I saw it maybe go up a tiny bit that much. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. We got the point and the goal ended up winning the game, so I'm happy with that.
Are you happy with the way the fellas are playing hockey right now? Feel fun to be out there on the ice at this point?
Yeah, I think especially around this time of year, it's fun to be at the rink, fun to play hockey, and especially gearing up for playoffs. We know each game gets a little bit harder, but this is the most exciting part, especially when we're in such a tight race with everyone else. It's kind of whoever goes out and earns it is going to get the best place.
How tough is it to play in a game, being a guy that can physically, handle yourself, obviously, if it got rough. What's it like last weekend when they were sort of going over the line, but they didn't really want to engage you guys in actually dropping the gloves? How tough is that mentally?
I think usually when you're in a game like that, you just got to know kind of your own identity, how you play. For me personally, and for a lot of guys on our team, we just play tough and hard between the whistles, and they can do whatever they want outside of that, whether it's pushing, shoving, trying to start fights, or not engaging. We know that we can play physical and hard, and we're not, say, go looking for fights, but if they want to start something, we'll definitely know how to finish it and protect ourselves.
There was a college football coach from around here who used to tell us fellas, if you're presented with a situation that feels kind of dicey, count of three, and usually you can kind of regain your composure and do that. You count to three in hockey, and the guy's past you, and things are not going so well.
Right.
So how do you quickly regain composure? Do you have any kind of mental exercise you kind of rapid fire go through to keep yourself from going over the line when you really need to check yourself?
I think that's something that we've worked on a lot as a team, is knowing that we got to be disciplined and each play counts. And hockey, it helps because the shifts are very short and you can go on the bench and reset really quick. But as soon as the whistle's blown, we know that anything extra is more than likely going to get called, and we don't want to cost the team.
We talked about, how the atmosphere in this building has sort of gotten better throughout the season. Not that there was anything wrong with it at the beginning of the year, but it really does seem different. As a player, how much fun is that?
Oh, it's just exciting. When you're playing in a packed barn, especially here, it's all the people that you've seen around town, all the people we've seen with all the work we've done in promos, just regular fans, everybody. The energy is just large and ecstatic, and for us that gives us more energy to play with, but at the same time, other teams coming into our barn, it's something that they have to deal with, and especially with the way that we play, if we're playing with energy, we know that we can come out on top.
If someone dropped $3,180 into your checking account right now, said you got to spend this before the day's over with, how would you spend $3,180 in gift money?
Oh, definitely food. Like, I take a bunch of the boys out, some teammates out, we go out for a big breakfast or dinner or something like that.
You could have lobster for breakfast for $3,000.
Sure, well, I could have lobster all day, why not?
Not for 20 guys. That'd be tough.
Any more questions for Zars? Thank you, Zars.
Thank you.
Moving on to our player portion of today's Mudbugs Mini Luncheon. He also scored a goal and an assist in Saturday's game. He's been one of our big anchors on our blue line as well. I call him the milkman, Matthew Danziger.
Questions for Matt? I'm sure.
I drink a lot of milk. That's my, I have chocolate milk pretty much every day. I probably go through like a gallon, almost a gallon every 2 days, so.
Do you know who the real milkman is?
No, I
The
don't.
athlete?
No.
Carl Malone they called him, he's from here, obviously an NBA Hall of Famer, called him milkman because he delivers. Obviously, you can do that as well, right?
Yeah, sure.
Do you ever get put in a position where, oh gosh, there's no chocolate milk, all I've got is Hershey syrup and whole milk? Can you make do with white milk with Hershey syrup turning into chocolate milk?
That's actually what I used to do. I would take the Hershey syrup and I'd mix it in, but now I have a Nesquik powder that I mix up in the milk. Less fat, less sugar too.
Can NAHL guys get NIL money? Chad, is it okay for like Nesquik to give some money to it?
Yeah, Fairlife is actually, ask Fairlife to sponsor me.
I'm going to start asking the same type of question I asked Tristan. As a guy who's looked upon as one of your roles, if things get physical, you're a guy that can sort of step in and end things. How tough is it when the opponent seems willing to do that, but then when it comes down to it, they're not, and I don't want to call it dirty, I don't want to put the words in their mouth, but they just weren't willing to go that extra step.
Yeah, it's definitely tough, and having that self-control playing against an opponent who you kind of know is going to pull back when things are getting rough. And, like Zarski said, we'll play hard in between the whistles, and when things get rough after the whistle, we kind of don't want to get out of our way and hurting ourselves, hurting the team by doing stupid stuff after the whistle. So it's definitely about having that self-control, yeah.
But that also sent in a message that they're not up to, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Does it
There-
feel like it's
it's-
crunch time for you guys right now? Like with the playoffs looming, the gap between you guys and the promise shortening, does it feel like, okay, this is put up or shut up time?
Yeah, definitely. It's coming down to it. You know, games are getting harder as we're moving down towards the end of the season, and it's feeling like every game is a playoff game as of right now. So yeah, it's definitely feeling that pressure, but it's helping us play harder with that pressure. So it's been good.
Yeah, you're a veteran of fun in the back of the net. You'd already had your goal this season, but you had another one. How, I know that's not your role is to be the guy that scores a lot, but how much fun is it?
Oh yeah, it's a really good feeling when you find it. Yeah. It's electric, and all the boys are celebrating, so it's fun.
Chet gets stopped all the time. You know, people saying, "Hey, Brad Pitt," and they're like, "No, it's me, Chet, me, my buds." Do you get a lot of Andrew Luck? Does anyone say you like Andrew Luck? Am I the only one who sees this?
I've never heard that before.
I
See it a little bit. All right. You're almost as big as Andrew Luck for pizza. I wonder if you were like a doppelganger for him.
No, I've never heard that
What
before.
if you got $3,180 in your account? What do you do when you got to spend it by 6 o'clock tonight? What do you do?
Yeah, we'd have to go for a team dinner at Superior. We were actually talking about that. That's the steakhouse around here. I think we'd go out and have a nice team meal before the game.
Do they have milk at Superior Steakhouse?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
they've got milk.
All right.
Yeah.
Might have a little Kahlua in it.
Be careful.
Any more questions for Danzy? Thanks, Danzy.
Thanks.
I want to remind our Mudbugs fans coming out tonight at Flying Heart Pub Brewery from 6 to 7:30. I think the whole event goes from 4 to 8. Come on out and support the Chi Omega Make-A-Wish Foundation. Select Mudbugs players will be there tonight once again from 6 to 7:30. They'll take pictures, sign autographs, and lots of fun. So we hope to see you there, and then we hope to see you this Friday and Saturday for the Mudbugs games. Until next time, claws up.